Hey YouTube. So today, sorry about all the noise. If I waited till there wasn't any, I'd never get anything done. Um, but I'm really just I'm gonna trial a mix. It's basically it's gonna be a potting soil type thing, but with actual. I mean, it's gonna be much heavier. Um, Now it's doing well with these lettuce seedlings. Those were all potted up or planted out in these old wash tubs uh, about 4 or 5 days ago. So I'm gonna give it a shot and see how it does with my Miho Satsuma right behind me in this or not 30 gallon. This is either a 10 or 15 gallon. I think this is a 10. Anyway, um, and I'll tell you why. As far as grow bags go, this is the roots of the pepper plant that came out of that 10-gallon grow bag. And I want that for my citrus. Toss that back over the compost. Okay, so basically, and this is really just so I remember, or I have a way to go back and see what I did, if anything goes wrong or if something goes really right. So I tried to do this with my big camera, but I'll never get around to editing it, or at least not until long down the road. So the only difference between what that lettuce is planted in and what this is going to be, this citrus is going to be planted in, is the amount of perlite I'm going to use. So I've already got one. This is cocoa. This is a little less than a big brick of cocoa. It's about a foot square, and then maybe 4 or 5 inches thick. Hydrated and then broke up. Then I added this 3 gallon grow bag full of just perlite to that. Well, now I'm going to add another one about halfway. So I want to have plenty of drainage for this Satsuma. And I've got, I added the cocoa to hold moisture. I'm adding the extra perlite to add drainage. Also, like I said, this is going to be a very heavy mix because of the premium soil mix that I'm using. And I kind of wanted it to lighten it up a little bit more. This isn't much different than, folks doing basically the same thing with peat or peat and compost and vermiculite and perlite and all that stuff. I've got some vermiculite over here too that's going to go in. Vermiculite and perlite are not the same thing. They serve very different functions, but they are somewhat similar. Perlite is going to give you drainage. Water's just going to run right through that, and it won't hold on to any. So it's going to give you drainage and aeration. That's actually some pretty good size particles there. So that's going to be good in a larger container. I know a lot of people like to try and root cuttings in perlite and vermiculite, just like solid perlite and vermiculite. I don't know if that's a very good idea unless you have a greenhouse set up, because that's a professional type thing to do, and you would typically have some sort of irrigation that's going to come on every 15 minutes or whatever for 30 seconds at a time. If you're just trying to propagate something at home, you probably don't have that, but if you do, I am very envious of you. Okay, still running into a few little clumps of perlite, cocoa, but no big deal. All right, now we've got almost a full bag of vermiculite. Now vermiculite holds on to water. That is that's actually not the finest vermiculite you can get. You can get it much finer, but this is going to hold on to moisture and kind of help. It helps move water, if that makes any sense. It kind of helps water drain through the soil column while still holding on to some. So that's going to be, this is a really windy day to be doing this, I'm telling you right now. So the other mix that the lettuces are in got the same treatment other than the extra perlite. Let's get this all mixed in. Now vermiculite, you know, that's not 100% necessary in this case because this cocoa is going to hold on to a lot of water, which is why I use it. I prefer cocoa over peat because cocoa never goes hydrophobic. Whereas if you forget to dry a peat-based media, you're gonna have a hell of a time getting it to rehydrate, especially, you know, here in any hot climate. I mean, just I keep saying North Texas, like, you know, our climate isn't very similar to probably, you know, Tucson and Tempe and Vegas, and it gets hot and dry. We are, you know, they have that festival down in Austin every year, well, except for 2020. We all know how that went. But, you know, it's South by Southwest, and that's basically what Texas is. We are South, but we are also very much Southwest. So, that actually looks like a really nice mix right now. But, also, in the other video, I wasn't really aware of where this premium mix, you know, what were they adding to it. It's essentially compost, and I was under the impression that it was the dredges of the local reservoir, but it's not. It's basically mined stone. They blow out the side of a mountain, and then they go and run it through fine crushers, and then mix it with compost, and that's their premium mix. So far, it's doing quite well. Like I said, with the lettuces, I'm gonna see how it does with some other things. I've also started these leggy okra in the same mix that the lettuce is in. I know that looks like bad germination if you're looking over here at this side, but I'm pretty sure these are the seeds that got left in my truck over summer last year, so those are just bad seeds. Also, those cucumbers over there, if you can see them. Cucumbers started in the same mix. I'm doing this little experiment just to see if it actually makes a difference, you know, from transplanting cucumbers to direct sowing. You know, they say cucurbits don't like to have their roots disturbed. I'm gonna test that a little bit. Not that I'm disagreeing with anyone, I just want to see, you know, hey, what happens. If it's gonna really set them back, or if it doesn't really do that much. Like I said, okay, so this is another 10-gallon bag of my local materials producers premium mix. It's very dry right now, so it doesn't really look all that great. I'm gonna add this in a little bit at a time because it's a little heavy, kind of hard to get mixed in. You can tell it's got some clay in there, so it's gonna have most of your minerals. Oh, I'm not gonna add I added some micronutrients in. It's basically just like clay pebbles to that other mix that I'm not gonna add here because, well, only because now I know that it's already got plenty of minerals in it. I might add some chelated iron just because I'm putting my citrus in here. And if I have to add anything, you know, as it grows, we'll see. All right, just trying to get that all mixed in real well. Let's not get, looks like some mistletoe falling out of the trees. And yes, I know this has some perlite in it. That's because I mixed a little trial run of some of this. couple of weeks ago, and I just did it with the big pile of the premium mix. I just threw a little on top and then mixed it in for that small bowl for, it's gonna be a salad bowl. Gotta get in there. Get in there. Okay. Now, I think we finished that off. Now this is actually gonna be a lot cheaper than pretty much anything else that you would be able to grow stuff in containers. I mean, yeah, the bag of, you know, it was a big 2 cubic foot bag of perlite and vermiculite. So the vermiculite was, well, if it hadn't been a torn open bag, would have been almost $20. The perlite was about 16. But I'll be able to fill this tub several times over with this same mix, just from the one bag of each. A yard of the premium mix, which cost me about 20 bucks. But of course, I got a discount. Check to see if you got relatives or friends that are, you know, landscapers. But yeah. So this is gonna be, if assuming that I don't have any troubles with it, this is going to be my permanent potting media. Anything that I grow in containers is getting planted into this stuff because it's considerably cheaper than going out and buying something like Ocean Forest. Ocean Forest is expensive, $25 a bag. Well, I've heard that you can get it for about 20. So 20 is the lowest. I paid 25 because I get mine at a hydroponics store. Which, if you can avoid buying stuff from hydroponic stores, do so, because they're typically going to assume you're growing for other crops, and they charge out the yang for it. So let me pause this so we don't have to watch all this. Okay, and that is our finished product. It's pretty light. I mean, it's heavier than most potting soils, but that's to be expected for, you know, using a mix that's been mined out of the side of a mountain. So let's see how well my citrus does with it. I probably need to grab my citrus fertilizer, but I think I'll just top dress with that. Okay, let's turn this around. I'm surprised this hasn't blown my my little camera stand over. All right. Yep, that's heavy. Got it. All right, so this Satsuma, the container that it's in, sits just about even with the planter that, or the grow bag that I'm gonna plant it in. So I'm gonna take some of the top roots, the top soil off, and see if I can knock some off the bottom and get it spread out a little bit. Let's see. Let that over. Get that loosened up a little bit. Okay, she's free. Okay, well, it looks like they had her planted a little deeper than she needed to be. Because you just want these feeder roots to be just beneath the surface. You can see that's moist way up here. You don't see that? It's moist about an inch up. You don't want that. Let's see if we... So you just want to cover the feeder roots. And I'm making a mess, but oh well. Okay. So let's see where that sits now. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not really gonna add anything. What is this? That is not a... That is a baby oak tree trying to grow. Ooh, Archies, y'all about to hear from me. This is a very wet water. Yeah, see, this tree wouldn't have been very happy in what it's in. But anyway, I'm gonna plant her on the bottom and just let the roots get a little bit more, out. Fill in around her. I definitely think she's gonna like this mix quite a bit better. If I had left that there too much longer, the trunk of that tree would have rotted, and I would have been one upset puppy. So I'm glad I got around to this now instead of trying to grow in that container all summer. That would have been pretty tragic. Let's see where those feeder roots are now. Okay, so they're right there. Got the tree straight up and down. Still needs a little bit more soil. Probably just get those covered with my hands. And pack it in along the sides. Make sure that it's in there snug and doesn't rock around, which is how that guy up there, well, I'll show you here in a second. I got my Meyer lemon up here that's leaning because I didn't pack the soil in around the sides. And that is not what you want to do. And I think that's gonna be it. Oh, no. Alright, so that's gonna be it for now. Well, let's see what it looks like after I water it. Let me go ahead and water it in a bit. And see how much that settles. Ouch. Yeah. And it's a good thing I didn't try and put anything under it, because that is still really high. I kind of would prefer to have, a good couple of inches of lip right here so I can put a mulch, or, just when you're watering, you can soak it down real good and not have, guys, I'm really sorry about all the noise. There's a church right next door. I'm in the middle of the city, guys. This is just life. Alright. I knew that was gonna happen. Alright. Well, at least y'all get a better better look. It is very windy out here. Let's see if I can lower that some so you guys can see better and so it doesn't fall over anymore. Okay. Now, where is that feeder root? Okay, yeah. Now y'all see how that water soaked in really quick? That's because of all the perlite. And well, the cocoa absorbs it really quickly too. Now some of those, if some of those feeder roots are still exposed, that's all right. I can come back later, toss a little bit more on top. It won't hurt anything. You actually kind of want to see that root flare a little bit, not, you know, the whole damn tree. But it's much better to plant it a little bit high, plant it a little bit higher than low. If you plant it low, it won't grow. You plant it high, it won't die. So anyway, that's just the trial. We'll see how it works out. I'll do, you know, some little time to time updates or whatever, and we'll see how things go. Like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. You know, get me into making more of these videos, show you guys what I got going on. I got some things going on down there that I'm not willing to talk about right now because that's just not, I tried something and I'm just like, this is Texas, we can't do that. But we'll talk about that later. Y'all take care.